Welcome to Access Sportsnet Dodgers. That's right. I am your host for tonight, Jerry Hairston Jr., alongside legend Tim Cates and semi-legend J.P. Hornshaw. How you guys feeling?
I'm doing great, Jerry. You know what? You've played for a lot of teams. You played a lot of positions. You sat in a lot of chairs. This is awesome to see you in that chair.
Well, let's not get crazy.
Well, I am actually very relieved because when you came in, my initial reaction is, John, you spent way too long in the tanning booth. And then you turned around and I was like, oh, Jerry's hosting. This is great. This is much better.
It's not the tanning booth. It's, you know, playing some golf out there in that sun. But I digress. Yes, it is a little different. But you know what? We're going to go to the full screen because we got a lot to get to. Here's the full screen. On Thursday, the Cactus League opener. Yes, that's important. And also, we are looking at March 18th and 19th. That is right. The Major League Baseball season starts with your defending champion Dodgers against the Cubbies. That should be a great series. Then back to March 23rd to the 25th, we have the Freeway Series, which is always fun, guys. Yeah. Dodgers, Angels, some of a little rivalry. March 27th, that's when the home opener begins. And word is out, the rings will be handed out that time. Here's Dave Roberts with some sound.
Where we're at right now today, the pitchers are in a good place. The buildup is going as we had hoped, and so not sure how who's gonna start the first couple games or when Yoshi's gonna go. But yeah, facing hitters, building up to 2 innings, 3 innings, and that progression, I think that to each guy is where we need to be.
I know every time this year you talk about the pep in your step, but considering what you accomplished last season and the off season, how does that feel different, look different for you now?
I think it looks different because guys are still hungry. I don't think there's anxiousness to sort of prove something. I think guys are looking at what we have with our ball club as an opportunity to do something really special. You know, our focus is to get better each day, to win a championship, to go back to back, and but still appreciate each day we're getting better. It is different than last year. I think there's certainly a lot of the same, you know, cast of characters, but there's some infusion of some new guys with some edge, some hunger that want their own hardware. I think that blend, and like earlier on, we were talking that it's a close group already, and that doesn't happen, you know, at every camp, but this is already a close group.
We love seeing actual baseball being played. We're going to have some Cactus League action this Thursday. How excited are you guys?
I'm looking forward to it, and I think finally we'll be able to put 2024 behind us in the championship. And certainly the ring ceremony will be great on opening day at Dodger Stadium. But so many additions to this roster, so many additions to the rotation, and Blake Snell and Sasaki, and then you get the bullpen additions. You got some turnover in the position players. I'm excited to see guys come back healthy in 2025 and how they're going to look in helping out this Dodgers team. There's a lot of new optimism in 2025 for this Dodgers team.
Yeah, we've been hearing about Roki Sasaki for how long before he actually became a Dodger? I can't wait to see this guy pitch. We had been hearing a little bit less about Hae-Sung Kim before he became a Dodger. That was kind of an unexpected signing, but you talk about the newcomers, Tim. For me, it starts with those two guys, seeing what they look like in a Dodger uniform, seeing how long it takes them to acclimate to North America, to the thin air of Arizona. How's that going to play out? What do those guys look like? And, hey, I can actually read the names on the back of the uniforms this year. I'm stoked about that, too.
I'm excited to see the newcomers. You know, obviously, Blake Snell, he is a veteran guy, but now he's got some pressure on him. He will be the ace of the staff, and also the young guys. They're looking to make their mark in spring training.
Think about how many guys on this Dodgers roster are coming back from injuries, guys that are coming back to prove what they're going to be able to do at the major league level and try to make this roster, whether it's starting pitching and Dustin May and Tony Gonsolin to position players like James Outman and Andy Pages. There's a lot of guys fighting for positions, and competition, as Pete Carroll always said, is a good thing on a team.
Absolutely, that is a great point. Now, with more on the buildup to Cactus play, let's hear from manager Dave Roberts. He was earlier at Camelback Ranch.
That's the tricky part. I think that the first two that come to mind are James Outman and Andy Pages, who on any other major league roster, they would have a job, they would, be certain to get 400, 500 plate appearances. Kike Hernandez is a guy that certainly we value. But yeah, the opportunities with us, it has to be sacrifice. And for me, my job is to make sure our guys stay on board with being ready when called upon, knowing that the most important thing is us winning baseball games. And guys will get an opportunity, because at some point in time, meritocracy, merit matters. But when you have a roster that's arguably the most talented roster in history, 1 through 40, playing time is hard. And all guys want to play, should want to play. But it takes some buy-in to their teammates in the organization. And I do believe that, Kike is a prime example of not being the guy during the season, but on the biggest of stages, he was counted on and performed. So you just never know how things are going to play out, but focus on getting better each day.
Guys, we heard from manager Dave Roberts talk about the young kids. One of the young kids is Andy Pages. He had a huge effect and impact on last year's team. What's his role going to be on this year's team?
It's going to be something we're going to find out here the next couple of weeks, where he fits in, if it's at the major league level or in AAA Oklahoma City. Burst onto the scene last year, maybe a year earlier than they had thought they'd have him, but because of injuries, they bring him up. Andy Pages just turned 24 this past offseason, December. He is still a young pup. He's still figuring it out. He didn't even get a full season in the major leagues a year ago. I think some seasoning in AAA, a full spring, knowing that he's got a shot at least to be a part of this team at some point in 2025 will be a boost for Andy Pages.
Yeah, I really liked what I saw from the bat last year from Pages, especially given his age. Another year of maturation can't hurt. There's really no room for him on this opening day 26-man roster as this is currently constructed, but an injury could change that. We could see him at some point later on this season. And what I really want to see Andy Pages do is be a good center fielder, because I feel like he was kind of forced in there at times last year. Obviously, James Outman struggled at the beginning of the year. Pages, his bat kept him in the big leagues, but can he improve with the glove enough where the Dodgers trust him with critical innings in center field if you have to move guys around, if you have to move Tommy Edman back to the infield, if Kike Hernandez or Chris Taylor or one of these veterans who has experience in center field is unavailable? Can Andy Pages do that? That's what I'm looking for from him this year.
One thing that I really was impressed about Andy Pages, when he got back from the second half of last season, he had scattered at-bats. And with those scattered at-bats, he still performed at a high level, especially in the postseason. So, listen, he may not get a whole lot of at-bats to start this season, but we know in this game, injuries happen, so hopefully he makes the most out of these at-bats. Another guy that I'm a little bit concerned about. 2 years ago, guys, he was 3rd in the Rookie of the Year voting, okay? Unfortunately, last year he hit 147. So my question to you, JP, first, you can hit on this. What will be his role this season?
It's a lot like Pages in the sense that, as currently constructed, there really is no role for him on the opening day 26-man roster. That's okay. What we saw from James Outman last year is a guy who really needs to work on his approach at the plate. It's a beautiful swing when it's in sync and when it's working. We didn't see enough of that last year. We saw plenty of that in 2023. This is a guy who I think at the bare minimum should come in and match right-handed pitching. That was kind of the report on him from scouts coming up. He was more than that. He was a guy who could hit lefty pitching too in 2023. But last year, he really played his way out of the team just by virtue of what he was doing at the plate. I'm not worried about his defense. It's the exact opposite of what I said with Andy Pages. Can he hit major league pitching enough to be a regular for the Dodgers in 2025? That's what I want to see in spring training from James Outman.
The physical tools are there. He's got the power. He's got the defense. They're there. We've seen it on full display. Jerry, I think it's between the years with James Outman. I think he just needs to get right. He got sent back to the minor leagues last year, and we didn't see him back until the end of September. It wasn't a part of the postseason run. I think he thought he'd go back to AAA, fine-tune some things, and he'd be back and have a spot at the major league level. He didn't get that opportunity. I think now he needs to come in with a good attitude in camp and fight for a spot, and if he doesn't make it, be ready to go for that first call-up.
It's about fighting for his career, not just getting a call-up at some point in the season. Hopefully he finds his footing, because certainly he has the talent. Another young player looking for a bounce-back year is Bobby Miller. We'll hear from Bobby on his expectations after a rough second season in the majors. Plus, winning is at an all-time of awesome. Yes, it is awesomeness. Trust me, I know. We'll talk to the players about doing it again. Casey, what's my motivation?
Winning.
98 wins during the regular season, pushed and tested the whole way, though. For the Dodgers, 3 outs away from their 8th World Championship, from a proper celebration. Start the party, Los Angeles! Your Dodgers have won the World Series! With a comeback for the ages.
We will never get tired of celebrating the World Series championship. But for the players, it's time to focus on this season. We talked with the players about it this weekend at Camelback Ranch.
It just feels different. Like the new guys, the guys that were here last year, the one that we just won, it just in the past. Yeah. And it feels like everybody now, they want more. And the new guys, they want that bad. And as you said, like everybody was here earlier than they're supposed to be here, just to get everything going, be more ready, more prepared for the season, and you know, it's been special.
You know, that's why we stay hungry every year. We understand that there's like a level of greatness that we're trying to chase down, and why not? It's just crazy. Like, you know, people could look at it as arrogance, or the Dodgers are trying to, you know, change the game. We need X, Y, and Z in the game to change so it levels the playing field. It's like, well, why does the rest of the league get to determine where the standard is? Why can't someone continue to push the level of greatness, and instead of like comparison, trying to pull people down to your level? And that's not a knock again against the rest of the league, but like that's how we feel, and that's how every team should feel. But like we actually, like, that's in our DNA. Like we want to win every year.
It's not just a one and done type mentality, and I think, you know, moving forward, like when I saw all the different signings, it was like, all right, we're going for it again.
That's what happens. You got, you know, 3 Hall of Famers at the top of the lineup. All they want to do is win. Plus, when you win, it just makes everything better. Winning it fixes all problems, and it's a beautiful thing. So to be able to hear that, see that, and then as we practice and go to work, and see how, you know, focused and committed everyone is, it's fun to be a part of.
The work that is being put on by the guys and by the organization in the offseason. We see how many free agents we sign, how much talent we got in that clubhouse that is new, that is fresh, that they want to win for the first time. You guys got a guy like Blaze Snell that came to this organization because he wants to taste winning on a sustainable, you know, range. So I feel like that's what kind of make me believe we're still hungry, and the mentality is to win another championship.
Guys, baseball hasn't seen a repeat champion since the Yankees of the 98 to 2000. That's got to be motivation right there, right?
It is, but I think individually there's a lot of motivation for guys financially, guys who've already won, maybe to add one more and add to some of the numbers on the back of their baseball cards and their baseball reference page. For some guys, it's financially just to get another contract because they're going into the final year of their deal. Guys want to come back off of injuries and contribute to this team like a Tony Gonsolin, a Dustin May. So I think there's a lot of motivation individually. Dave Roberts, when he addressed the team over the weekend, sort of talked about that. Individually, take care of business. Whatever you're supposed to do that day, you focus on your job, and then collectively, between the 9 innings that we played that night, we'll go out there as a team and win. So I think individually, there's a lot of motivation for these guys.
I like what Miguel Rojas said right there, which is that if any individual is still satisfied with having won a championship last year, there are plenty of newcomers who were not part of last year's team who will be around to remind them, whether that's a Blake Snell, a Hae-Sung Kim, any of these newcomers who came in and want what the Dodgers had last October. There's going to be plenty of reminders. Dave Roberts also said something last year that stuck with me, which is that for a lot of teams coming in to play the Dodgers, that's their World Series.
Absolutely.
Right there. And if the motivation isn't in the Dodgers clubhouse to remind them of the importance of every single game, it's going to be in the other clubhouse because they're going to gear up to play the Dodgers as if it's the final out of the World Series every game.
That's a good point. Now you're the hunted instead of the team that's trying to hunt the other championship team from the year before. So in that role, JP, these guys need to adapt to that. You have to have some dogs out there and guys that know how to go out and compete every night and be the team that's being hunted.
You know what? One guy that is motivated, Bobby Miller. Obviously, Bobby Miller didn't have the season he would have liked, but he is motivated. He spoke with our Kirsten in Camelback.
There's a lot of talk of all the moves this offseason. That does, of course, mean competition for the rotation, just to be on the roster, things like that. What is your approach with that, and how are you managing, one, being a guy who's open to any and all opportunities, but also fighting for that starter role?
Yeah, you know, no matter how many moves we make or whatever, there's always going to be competition for a spot on the team. You know, nothing's given. So, you know, I'm always going to have to earn what I get. So, but yeah, I've been working super hard to try to earn that spot. But, you know, whatever happens, happens. You know, all I know is I'm putting my 100% effort in everything I do every single day to put myself in a good spot. And I feel like I'm in a great spot for that position right now.
There's obviously a lot of talent in this room. What has it been like just seeing some of your new teammates, getting to know them, building relationships, especially with someone like Blake Snell?
Yeah, he's awesome. We're just kind of getting to know each other right now as friends right now. And but yeah, I'm excited to watching him going and getting more ramped up, and excited to see him face hitters as well. You know, I'm just going to be paying attention to the guys like that, you know.
He told me that he felt that you guys had a lot of just similarities, and he kind of saw himself in you in different ways. Do you feel that when you see him, just whether it's how he plays the game, whether it's the style, things like that?
Yeah, just like you said right there. And he's also another kind of laid-back dude and a very big competitor, which is the same for me. So yeah, we're just kind of getting to know each other right now.
What is the vibe going into 2025? Obviously there is a very high focus level, but do you feel a different kind of fire amongst this group looking to achieve something special and going back to back?
Yeah, 100%. You know, obviously that's the main goal, but right now, you know, just focus on day by day, winning each day, focusing and being where your feet are. So, you know, that's all you can do as of now, instead of just looking in the future every single day. So just kind of being where your feet are and taking it day by day.
Guys, we just heard Bobby say that nothing is given. He's going to have to earn anything he gets this season. What's his place on this roster?
Well, Bobby Miller is one of a handful of pitchers who actually have an option in their contract. They can actually be optioned to the minors. This is not an especially flexible pitching staff. There are a lot of veterans. So Bobby Miller has to give the Dodgers a reason to keep him on their major league staff. That is not going to be easy because this is a very deep pitching staff. In short, Bobby Miller has to show that he is not the pitcher he was last season, and is the pitcher that he was 2 years ago. Because the guy he was last season, command was an issue, consistency was an issue. Sure, you've got an upper 90s fastball, but that alone is not going to get you a job in the major leagues today. That is not going to carry you through. Bobby Miller has to show that he is a complete pitcher. Showed that a lot 2 years ago, but he's got to get back to that form, and maybe being around veterans like Tyler Glasnow, Blake Snell, where he's apparently stationed in that locker room there in Camelback, is going to help.
JP, I'm so glad you brought that up. And Tim, I asked this question to you. The impact that Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow to kind of take Bobby Miller under their wing, can that benefit him?
Absolutely, and I think it's huge because I don't believe he had a mentor, a guy who he can go to in between starts and say, what did I do wrong? What have you done in the past as a veteran pitcher? Now that he's got Snell and Glasnow there to help him and navigate through a season, the ups and downs, he had a great 2023, 22 starts, 11 wins. He caught baseball on fire and rode that momentum and that high through that season. Comes back in 24, we know the ERA with the struggles he had in AAA as well. Now that he's got some guys to kind of guide him and navigate through the ups and downs of spring training, I think we're going to see Bobby Miller be a big-time contributor in 25.
I'll tell you what, I think we all were not worried about Bobby Miller, but we want to see him succeed. Ahead on Access, we'll discuss the bullpen. Is Alex Vesia the most important piece coming out of the bullpen this season? Plus, my spring conversation with Tanner Scott. Let me tell you something. This young man is a flat-out beast.
Los Angeles ドジャース2025シーズンに向けて始動。皆さんこんにちは。いよいよ2025年シーズンが始まります。2024年の感動的なワールドシリーズ優勝から数ヶ月が経ち、チームはすでに次の目標へ向けて動き出しています。昨シーズンの成功に甘んじることなく、ドジャースはさらなる高みを目指し、歴史に名を刻むべく準備を進めています。今シーズンのドジャースはどのような戦いを見せてくれるのか、期待と興奮が高まります。まずは注目すべき日程をチェックしましょう。3月18日、19日は開幕戦としてシカゴ、カブスと対戦し、3月23日から25日にはロサンゼルス、エンゼルスとの交流戦が予定されています。そして3月27日にはホーム開幕戦が行われ、この日にはチャンピオンリングが授与される予定です。この特別な瞬間に立ち会えるファンにとっても、忘れられない一日になることは間違いありません。デーブ・ロバーツ監督も、選手たちの意識の高さについて語っています。選手たちはまだ飢えている。昨シーズンの成功で満足するのではなく、もっと上を目指している。新加入の選手たちも自分のリングを手に入れたいという強い意志を持っている。最高のチームワークでもう一度歴史を作りたいと語り、すでに多くの選手が自主的にキャンプに参加し、開幕前からハイレベルな競争が始まっています。この意識の高さこそが、ドジャースが常にトップに君臨する理由の一つです。2025年のドジャースは、新たなスター選手を迎え、さらに強力なチームへと進化しています。ロキ、佐々木は日本の怪物右腕としてついに Mlb デビューを果たします。彼がアメリカの環境にどれだけ早く適応できるのかが注目されています。アリゾナの乾燥した気候、長いシーズンの中でのコンディション管理、そしてメジャーリーグの強打者たちとの対戦、すべてが彼にとって新たな挑戦となりますが、その才能に疑いの余地はありません。ブレイク、スネルはヤング賞投手として新エースに加入し、プレッシャーの中でどのような投球を見せるのかが期待されています。そしてキム・ハソンは多彩な打ち足として、チームの戦力アップに大きく貢献することが期待されています。彼の守備範囲の広さ、そして安定したバッティングがチームにどのような影響を与えるのか、今シーズンのキーポイントの一つとなるでしょう。さらに、昨年怪我に泣いたダスティン、メイ、トニー、ゴンソリン、ジェームス、アウトマンなどが復帰予定で、戦列を離れていた選手たちが戻ってくることで、チーム内の競争はさらに激しくなります。選手層の厚さはドジャースの大きな武器であり、これが長いシーズンを勝ち抜くための鍵となります。特に投手陣の充実は目を見張るものがあります。スネル、佐々木、そしてベテランのタイラー、グラスノーがローテーションに加わり、さらにボビー、ミラーがどこまで成長するかによって、ドジャースの投手陣の完成度は大きく変わってきます。ドジャースが成功を収め続ける理由は、単なるタレント力だけではありません。勝利への執念と常に進化し続ける姿勢がチームを突き動かしています。勝つことは最高のモチベーションであり、殿堂入りレベルの選手が打線にいることでチームの雰囲気は大きく変わります。俺たちが基準を作る、誰かに合わせるのではなく、頂点を目指すんだと語る選手たちの言葉からもわかるように、彼らは勝利を当然のものとして受け入れるのではなく、そのために努力を続けています。ドジャースは、すべてのチームから狙われる存在になっています。相手チームにとって、ドジャースとの対戦は自分たちのワールドシリーズともいえる試合です。そのプレッシャーを跳ね返し、シーズンを戦い抜くためには、強い精神力とチームワークが不可欠です。昨シーズン、大ブレイクを果たしたアンリ・パヘスは、今シーズンさらに成長を遂げることが期待されています。打撃センスはすでに一級品ですが、守備力の向上が求められています。特にセンターでの安定感を高めることが、チームにとって大きなプラスとなるでしょう。そして、もう一人復活を狙う男、ジェームス・アウトマン。2023年には新人王争いを繰り広げる活躍を見せましたが、昨シーズンは打率147と低迷。彼は再びメジャーに定着できるのか、スプリングトレーニングでの奮起が求められます。2023年に一気にブレイクしたボビー・ミラーですが、2024年は安定感を欠いたシーズンとなりました。速球の威力は Mlb でもトップクラスですが、課題は制球力の向上です。彼にとって今シーズンは、単なるローテーション入りではなく、キャリアをかけた勝負の年、ベテラン投手たちと共に、どこまで進化できるのかが問われる1年となります。スネルやグラスノーの指導が鍵となるでしょう。1998年から2000年のヤンキース以来の連覇に挑むドジャース。2025年のスローガンは勝ち続けることが使命。今シーズンも、選手たちはそのプライドを胸に戦います。そしてファンの皆さんと共に、再び最高の瞬間を迎えられることを信じています。このチームの歴史を見届ける準備はできていますか？ドジャースの戦いを一緒に応援しましょう。 ドジャースの最新情報を見逃したくない方は、チャンネル登録をお忘れなく、今すぐ登録して、2025年シーズンを共に楽しみましょう。